1400 Ants Management.
It's done unto you as you believe. It's done unto you as you believe. I'm gonna get there, yes, somehow. It's my way. I'm gonna grab you by the hand to a place we will stand. Stand proud, no fear. It's clear, I believe in you. I believe in me. Oh yeah, I believe that we can make this dream a reality. Yeah, yeah. Now's the time to be. Now's the time for miracles. Oh, it's in my heart so deep. 'Cause I believe.
Ah, yes, I believe in me, and I believe in you, and I believe that we can make our dreams a reality. Welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People here on Spirit 1400. Ah, yes, on this beautiful, beautiful, chilly day. Hope you're enjoying it and eating. Y'all probably watching football, knowing what most of y'all are doing, which is the American favorite pastime. Number one TV watched show in African American families is
Go
football.
Ravens.
Yeah, go Ravens. Who they playing?
The Steelers.
Oh Lord, well I know
There
ain't
you
nobody
go.
listening
And
today.
this is one of those you have to win or lose.
Well, we beat them the first time, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
But we've
Yes,
only
we did.
won 2 games since then.
They're
right?
a different team since, the week that we played them. They are a different team now, offensively and both defensively.
Who is? We are different.
The
team?
Steelers. No, the
Oh,
Steelers.
the Steelers.
Yeah, they've refined and fine-tuned their team. So
Wow. Well, we're going to be quick about it and so y'all can get on back to what you was doing. Please say hello to my co-host and producer, Jason Rodriguez. How are you, Jay?
I'm doing well, family. Peace and blessings, Spirit family. I just want to remind everyone we are now streaming live on Facebook, Periscope, as well as YouTube. So you'll get to see everyone in studio, including Patrick Henderson in all of his glory this Sunday.
Well, God is good, and we're thankful for another day to be alive and to be viewing and not being viewed. We thank God for each and every one of you. And when you say, Patrick, you thank God. Yeah, man, I do. I believe that we are all the children of God, every last one of us, and we're made in his incredible ideal of images. No 2 of us look alike unless, of course, we're twins. And then some of us, you go someplace and you meet somebody, is you kin too? And they know in a completely different land. So some kind of way they say we all have a match somewhere in the world. And that is the hand of a great, great creator. We're thankful for the opportunity to be here. And as many of you know, as all of us should know, the number one thing. Oh, hi, Lamitra. Lamitra, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey.
But for some reason, the phone wouldn't let me dial. I would dial a number, and I wouldn't get anything.
You were
I've
sticking,
been trying to dial for 5 minutes.
you were sticking your finger in the wrong hole.
No. I'm all stick it in.
Well, we got you now, sweetheart. I'm glad you're on. This is my sister, Lamitra Henderson Parker, Lamitra Henderson, and down in Dallas, Texas. And boy, I tell you, this is a great conversation going to be because you guys got a hot race going down there in Texas with Beto.
And Ted Cruz.
And Ted Cruz, one of the biggest demons in the world, as far as the world concerned. Don't nobody like Ted Cruz. But rather than vote Beto, a man who is of reason, you're going to have a lot of them rednecks down there in Texas. They're going to vote for him, and they know Ted Cruz does not have a clue. He is a first-class jerk.
Mimi, you should see Patrick this afternoon. He is looking sharp.
Wow.
Sharp. Got a scarf on. I like that tie you got on there.
Well, thank you, man.
Sir.
I tell you what, man.
Is it cold?
Yeah, it's chilly. I mean, it's one of them meter that go to your bones, too. I didn't even wear an overcoat. I'm going to step out there looking all cute and everything, and I went, oh, glory, 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 glory. And I didn't have time to run back in the house and grab a coat. But it is.
Leave one in the car.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Just put one in the car and keep it in there. See, that's what women, they be thinking about things that men, we just be going, I'm cold. Well, put one in the car, and then you won't get cold. I love you, my sweetheart, and thankful for that when you're able to join us. As we all know, the elections are tomorrow. Tuesday. No school tomorrow, no school Tuesday, which I was shocked.
Why?
Well, one thing, the teachers they get a work day. I guess, they need it. Whenever they get the teachers a break, I say give it to them. I'm telling you, because the children, just imagine what one or two are like. If you can imagine 25 or 30 of them at a time, and you are angry because they acting up, so then you got an attitude. And they could care less about your attitude. So what they're going to do, they're going to give you attitude. And so you have the power to put them out of your class or to abuse them verbally. But bottom line is that just makes them angrier. And they're going to react in ways that they ain't going to learn nothing because they're under stress. So it's a catch-22. And I empathize with the teachers. I wonder why we don't sit down and have the debate about finding a way to show mutual respect for children and to talk to them. I see it all the time at my school. My kids, during lunchtime when we getting ready to come together, my kids don't be running all over the school. My kids be sitting there doing their homework, talking to each other, laughing and talking and stuff. And if they get up and run around, I say, hey, yo, chill. Because I tell them, this on the inside is different from being on the outside. And I always tell them to remember where you at. And me ain't that what Mama used to say? Remember where you are. Remember where you are. Don't be acting like that in here. You know where look where you at. And that's what I say. I'll be walking down the hall. Remember where you are. And they look around and they stop. But we got to set up these kind of
principles.
Principles of way. You don't run and play in here. This is guidelines. Inside. You run and play out. And even on the playground, we got the swings and stuff. They can't run in that area. There's fields. I mean, almost over an acre, almost a field. They can rip and run and rumble and tumble. I say, this is too close, small area. What if you run and you run into somebody and hurt them? Go on out there. You can do it. And they go out there and never look back. And have a good time. So I just say that we just need to just start thinking more of our children and treating them like we would like to have been treated as we were children. We forget how we were treated, how much we didn't like when we didn't have a say in nothing. Just do what I do, and parents never saying they were sorry when they were wrong. Kids grow up with attitude, and as they justly should, because if it happens to your own life, you don't know nothing but that. And, and you can't. Mama always said you can't repeat what you haven't seen. So we pray for our children, but we're praying for this election on Tuesday. I was just reading on the front page of The Sun, candidates make final push for election. As many of you know, Jason, before you know, is that ad up? Do you have that ad, that Hogan thing from the news organization that I sent you?
No, that's from, I had that set up for Monday's show.
For Monday's show?
Yeah, for Monday's show.
Okay.
Yeah, you asked me for Monday's show. I didn't know about
Is it
today.
possible to send it to him and we can play it today?
Yeah.
I want y'all to hear something because people are not paying attention. Y'all don't know who Ben Hogan is. Ben Hogan. I keep calling him Ben Hogan. He ain't no doggone golf player. He's a, I don't know what he is. I don't know. What did he do before he became governor? Does anybody know what he did before he became governor?
We had this argument on Friday's show on the DMV Daily Show, and I kept telling them that he was a private sector guy.
He wasn't in
he
politics?
says, and remember when we had him through the community, Steve McAdams and his entourage of folks that work for Governor Hogan in his office. I think he had a bishop or a pastor or somebody, and several community liaisons. They told us then that they were private sector folks, that all of them that were brought into office to work with Governor Hogan, they were all public sector folks. And that's where they had planned to go back if they don't win a second term. They all plan to go back to the private sector. So these were private sector business guys. You know, these guys weren't community, activists or grassroots organizers. You know, they were thing compared to like a President Obama. You know what I mean? These guys
elected
were strictly
officials
in the business,
public,
right, public sector. So
this is what we're getting, and this is what you all we are facing here in the city of Baltimore.
And we have the audio up when you're ready.
You have the audio. Now, I want y'all to listen real good to this because this is true. Larry Hogan is an avid participant, supporter, and supported by the Koch brothers. If you're wondering, I would like to know, we could play that too. Yes, send that to him. Want y'all to know who this man is. And Jason just explained to us that he is a private sector person. That means he's about business. He's about business for businessmen. He wants to end unions as we know it. And we just want y'all to know that we have got to find a way to do this, to get rid of this guy. Because if we don't, we are in trouble. I want you to play that ad for me. Remember these guys, the Koch brothers, are the ones that originated the law for stand your ground in Florida, where Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin and got away with it because of this law. The Koch brothers, they're against unions. They are against people. They are only about the money. That's what the private sector is. Play that for me, would you? Ready?
The one that we have right now is the Brian Frost one.
Well, you don't have the other?
I'm trying to pull that up.
Okay, well, I'll keep talking till you pull that one up. I'm sorry, you all. We're just a little bit off the cue or the key. But I want y'all to hear this because people don't believe me. I've been putting it on Facebook. And the reason I'm coming to you and talking about this, the only way that Hogan can win in the state of Baltimore, the state of Maryland, is 25% of Democrats vote for Hogan. That's the only way he can win. 25%. Check this out. Are we ready? You got it there? Check this out.
Becoming the governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan served on the board of the Maryland Public Policy Institute, a conservative think tank that opposes funding for public transit and sees Betsy DeVos's disastrous education reforms in Michigan as a model for Maryland. The Institute is part of a web of groups that opposes unions, worker protections, and environmental regulations that investigative reports have found are secretly backed by the Koch donor network. So I asked Hogan, who's doing well in the polls in a state Democrats outnumber Republicans 2-1, if it's fair for him to call himself a moderate when he has ties to a group that pushes an extreme agenda, some of which he supports.
I know you build yourself as a moderate, you've distanced yourself from Donald Trump, but you're also a member of the Maryland Public Policy Institute, which is part of the State Policy Network, which is funded by the Koch brothers. Do you think you're really...
I'm not a member of it. I used to be on the board years ago, and the Koch brothers had absolutely nothing to do with it. So the real news is
president. You're president.
It's not true.
You're president.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the Koch brothers being associated with that. But I know about your group, though.
Okay.
You can hear me begin to say President Emeritus, but he's actually Director Emeritus of the Maryland Public Policy Institute, which has been called the policy arm of the Hogan administration. Hogan called my question fake news, but here's what we do know. The Institute wouldn't tell us who their donors are, but according to tax records obtained by Conservative Transparency, their leading donors through 2014, which covers the period Hogan served on their board, is Donors Capital Fund, which has been called the dark money ATM of the conservative movement. Another major funder is State Policy Network, who, according to a report by the Center for Media and Democracy, is funded by the Koch donor network. On top of that, an adjunct staffer at the Institute, Wendell Cox, is the former legislative director of ALEC, the American Legislative Exchange Council, another arm of the Koch network, which pushes corporate-friendly and anti-worker model legislation in state houses across the country. The Kochs gave the maximum amount to Hogan's 2018 campaign, and Politico reported their voter data contributed to a stunning 2014 victory. Liberals have their wealthy donors too. George Soros gave the maximum allowed donation to Hogan's opponent, but investigative journalists like Jane Mayer have chronicled the outsized influence the Kochs and their allies have on U.S. politics. And while Hogan decried my question as fake news, he hasn't opposed deceptively edited Republican Governor Association ads targeting his opponent, Ben Jealous.
Go ahead, call me a socialist.
If you keep playing the tape, Jealous was actually saying he's not a socialist.
Go ahead, call me a socialist. Doesn't change the fact I'm a venture capitalist.
Some have questioned why Jealous is so defensive about being called a socialist in the first place.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but do you identify with the term socialist?
Are you fucking kidding me? Is that a fine point?
In Maryland, Democrats outnumber Republicans 2-1. And according to a new Gallup poll, a majority of Democrats nationally have a more positive view of socialism and a negative view of capitalism. But that hasn't stopped the Republican Governors Association from running ads like this.
Jealous is too extreme for Maryland.
The Kochs oppose regulations on healthcare, as do pharmaceutical and insurance companies, who donated over $300,000 to help air ads like this.
A nonpartisan analysis says his health care plan alone could cost an extra $2,800 from every man, woman, and child.
They don't mention this would cut what the average Maryland resident spends on health care by half. Polls show that majorities of Maryland Democrats embrace single-payer health care, a $15 minimum wage, and even a jobs guarantee.
We have a lot of people that need jobs bad.
So what do you think about a policy that would say anyone that can't get a job in the private sector, the state will give them a job, a living wage, so they don't have to, sell drugs or commit crimes? Would you support that?
I support that because you need.
So Ben Jealous supports that.
Many analysts predict a blue wave against Republicans, sparked by Donald Trump's presidency, which Hogan predicts he can harness.
The good news is that I know how to surf, and 68% of all the Democrats in Maryland support my candidacy, and so if there's a wave of Democrats coming out, they're going to be voting for me.
While Hogan touts his support among Democrats, the vast majority of elected Democrats have endorsed Jealous, and critics say Hogan's policies are more similar to those backed by Trump and the Kochs than he'd like to admit.
Much of what Governor Hogan has done on substance hasn't really been too different from what Donald Trump has done. In terms of vetoing paid sick leave, an incredibly important bill to make sure that that all workers in Maryland have the chance to earn sick days. That's something that Governor Hogan vetoed, and we had to override his veto. Clean energy. We passed a really important clean energy bill 3 years ago that Governor Hogan vetoed that would increase the amount of renewable energy that we're using here in Maryland. Governor Hogan vetoed that. So in terms of a war on workers and a war on the environment, Governor Hogan's doing that. He's waging those battles here in Maryland as well.
And while Jealous's platform is more akin to FDR's New Deal, Hogan's governorship has included some cuts to those same institutions.
When you are taking an absolute hammer to our transportation system and crushing what was a $3 billion investment in high-speed east-west transit, that's not being a moderate.
And while the media is focused on a recent high-profile spat between the Kochs and Trump, they continue to work together to reduce taxes for the wealthy and gut environmental regulations. And while there aren't direct links between Hogan and the Kochs, he supports some of the policies that are at the heart of their agenda and of Donald Trump's. It remains to be seen what impact that will have in the deeply blue state in November, where the Republican governor remains deeply popular.
Thank you. Wow. How many of you knew that? How many of you knew it? But I'm going to add some more to it. Do you know that Hogan also, he vetoed paid sick leave for workers? Now, you need that money. It's paid for sick leave. When you're sick, you need all the little funds you can get. And the last place you need cuts as the wrong time is when you're sick. That's just one. Then he vetoed increasing renewable energy. All the solar panels and all that stuff like that. He voted for he vetoed the increasing renewable energy in Maryland. He vetoed restoring voting rights to residents leaving the prison system. He vetoed it, but he got overridden by that one. In fact, every one of you that have children that have been in prison or been in jail or anything and think they cannot vote, yes, they can. They can vote. They can. I'm going to give you the information where they can go, and all they got to do is register, and they can walk in there on Tuesday and vote. Yes, don't tell nobody they can't vote because they got a prison record. That's not true. Then Hogan went on and he said he vetoed a bill to stop police from taking your money when you haven't committed a crime. Now, that's the one that I just think is just outrageous. We know these Baltimore police. Now, he vetoed a bill saying that they can take your money and you have not committed a crime. Well, who does that? Why? Who? I'm serious, Lamitra. You laugh, but who does that? And you all are talking about voting for this man? This man don't care nothing about, huh?
They don't know, Pat.
Mitra, I'm telling them. And for some of them that won't mean anything, but I'm not here to make you to teach you anything. I'm only here to make you think and reconsider. If he gets less than 25% of the Democrats in the state of Maryland, he will not be governor. We need new air. We need new breath. We need new fresh ideas. Jallis called for the firing of that coach at University of Maryland 3 weeks ago. Now, finally, Hogan is just saying something about it. We don't need a governor who is a reactionary. We need a governor who is proactive, who can look and see things the way that they are and call them and bust a move on them then. Not somebody waiting to see where putting their finger up to the wind to see which way it's blowing before they make a comment. Okay, he also said Mike Pence and Chris Christie are probably the two types of his closest friends of Republican governors. Chris Christie? Are you kidding me?
I know.
And Mike Pence? Mike Pence, who can't keep his hands in his pants if he in the room with another woman and his wife ain't there with him? Give me a break. He called for the removal of additional Confederate monuments, political correctness gone amok. Now, we get supposed to look at this all the days of our lives for these bastards who lost the war, and we're supposed to, and he calls it run amok. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, I understand, and you should understand the reason we can't get that Hogan to drop that HBCU lawsuit. Under his skin, under who he is a racist. He cannot help it. He has to go along to get along. That's how he got here. But being associated with the Koch brothers, being associated with the people who did ALEC, that set up the Stand Your Ground law, where black people, if they do it, they get served jail, but if white folks do it, they get off. There's something wrong. Y'all, we need to think about who this man is. He is not who y'all think he is. He is not who we think he is. He comes from the private sector. He's not concerned about, he's concerned about dollars. Okay? And here we are. If 25% vote for him, he's going to win. Then he vetoed a bill for the decriminalization of marijuana. Now, you don't have to smoke. You know, we got all these wild tales about what it do. It leads to this and it leads to that. That's all a bunch of hogwash. Look what's going on in Denver. They making so much money that they're sending checks to just the regular citizens in the town.
Canada, too.
Would you say Major Seattle?
Canada.
Yeah, Canada. Oh, my God, Canada. My family, we bought stock up in there, which I've been trying to tell y'all. Y'all need to do since last year, but some of y'all don't listen, but you're going to learn, okay? There's plenty of money to be made, but here we are. We got a governor that wants to keep it criminalized. Why would he want to do that? Now, just think about it. How many young people do you know that are in jail for having a dime bag of marijuana? How many people do you know that have served time for marijuana? Now they're decriminalizing it, and who's gonna be the one selling it? They are. We had to fight to get growers in here in Maryland. That's why it's taken so long. But he vetoed the bill. Then he joined Trump in calling for Maryland to reject refugees. Now, I ain't for people to come here. I'm not. I think everybody should come the way they're supposed to come. But them people that's down there, they say that's 1,000 miles away, that Trump is sending 15,000 troops down and told them to shoot on these people if they throw rocks at them.
They crazy. Children, women, crazy.
Can y'all imagine if they throw rocks? This just shows you, if he is allowed to do that to those people, you can imagine what he's going to be allowed to do to us. By voting for Democrats, it is the only opportunity, the only chance, the last chance we have to stop this madness that is going on in the White House. If we put all Democrats as many as we can in the Congress, a majority, they're going to hold Trump accountable. And he already said it. He said it on the news the other day. Well, if we lose, I'll figure out what to do. Because he knows he's in trouble. Because he's been breaking the laws here and there, the emoluments clause. He's getting money, making a fortune off the hotels that he's got all over the world. All the dignitaries want to stay in his hotel because they think that'll buy them favor, which it obviously must be doing. We got to come to our senses. Hogan didn't feel educated enough, he said, to make a comment on Kavanaugh. Now, I know that was just the one that just really just let me know. I don't care what you all say. This guy thinks we're all a bunch of fools. He thinks we're all a bunch of idiots. And the bottom line is, when I first came here, after that first few years out here, and excuse what I'm getting ready to say, but I heard it so many times, them niggas don't vote. So we ain't got to keep our word to them. We ain't got. Do y'all know that Larry Hogan has an office here for his campaign, and it's never open? Just the signs on the door. Somebody did a video and showed it. Said they don't even open it up. That's how much he don't care about Baltimore. He don't care if you don't vote. But remember, if less than 25% of us and PG County, black people in period, vote for him, he will not win. Baltimore, wake up. Wake up. Wake up. This is our time. This is our time. One of the best, smartest black men in the country, who didn't grow up like Obama, who grew up with a white father and a black mother. But they had to get out of Dodge, had to get out of Maryland, because it was against the law for them to be married. Okay? Mm-hmm. So Ben Jallis didn't grow up with a silver spoon in his mouth like Barack Obama did. Remember, Barack Obama's grandmother was the vice president of a bank. That's what y'all got to remember. So he had a different life. He didn't know. Mm-hmm. He didn't have nobody coming home saying, Lord, this world is crazy, like his mother did and his father did, because they had to fight racism every day of their lives, and they stayed together and raised in a family of beautiful, wonderful, smart children. Ben Jallis is a Yale graduate. Ben Jallis is a venture capitalist, and he's not your typical selfish venture capitalist. What he does is, when people come to him with an idea and he thinks it's viable, then he go and find investors to do it. No bad record. This man is smart. He looks ahead. He's thoughtful, and he is genuine. He has integrity. Larry Hogan has no integrity. I don't care what you say. You can say what you want to say. When he said that he wasn't keeping up with the Kavanaugh hearing, who wasn't keeping up with that? The only reason he wasn't keeping up with it because he didn't want to make a comment on it, because he's a Republican. I call them re-thuglicans. Re means to do again. Thugs, to be a thug over and over. That is a part of the Ku Klux Klan. Don't get it twisted, you all. White supremacy, this ain't even about racism. This is about the evil of white supremacy. This is what we're dealing with. So Oprah said it the other day, if you don't vote, you are dishonoring your foreparents. People died. Meet you remember when mom and dad was complaining because they had to pay a poll tax in Dallas?
Yep, I remember
They couldn't vote
quite
unless
well.
they paid. That was against the law, but they did it for years. When they didn't have to do it, I never will forget. And I never forget this one lady at our church who came to church with a bumper sticker on her sign. I believe it was for Goldwater. Boy, she called hell. Them saints, I had never seen them saints come forward politically. But they asked her, who do you think you are? And you could not know who you are because you wouldn't have that sign on the back of your car. How do we get sold out? I know how we get sold out. We get a little few dollars in our pocket. Our children doing fine. Okay? Then we look down on the other people. We know that it wasn't easy for them to make it. Sure, a lot of them made the bad choices. And we still make bad choices. But so it's more pro-white folks than it is in African-American people. In fact, only 24% of African-Americans are below the poverty line. But you hear it on the news, you hear 60%. That is a lie. Right. They want you to believe that we aren't. They want you to believe that we're the only ones killing each other. 89% of all white people that are killed by other white people. But you don't hear about it. All these mass murders and stuff, terrorism, we've been going. There ain't no brown people, ain't no Islamic people, Muslims doing this stuff. These are white men that are doing this. So I'm having a problem understanding why we can't see that. And this one time to really give us the shot in the arm, the shot of great possibility of things changing in Maryland forever by electing for the first time a black Democratic governor. We are a blue state here. Y'all, it's up to us. If y'all know somebody's going to vote for Hogan, tell them, be not deceived. This man is not who you think he is. He does not have a clue. He does not mean this. How you going to run a campaign and not even have an office in the city, in the largest city in the state? Unless you don't care about. I know, it's just unbelievable. But that's what's going on. You've been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on Spirit 1400. Jay had to go. Thank you, Dwayne, always for your excellent work. Lemitra, I love you, baby. But join us tomorrow. It's going to be a hot show. Got some new co-hosts, Marvin Doc Cheatham, Richard Terry, Leo Burrows. It's going to be hot up in the house. So join us tomorrow. God bless. Have a great day. We'll see you and hear you tomorrow at 11:30 on WLB 1010 Baltimore. You've been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on Spirit 1400. Be blessed. Bye.
WWIN Baltimore, WWIN HD Baltimore. On the web at spirit1400.com. Spirit 1400, the spirit of today's gospel. The spirit of today's gospel.